Hey, Selena, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you, Celia?
I'm excited. I get to hang out with you twice in one day,
Right.
right? We're lucky ladies.
The
Uh,
first call was amazing.
it was amazing. It was so good. We are coming together today for the Real Women, Real Conversations series. I'm so blessed to get to bring you to a broader audience. Can you tell all of the people who are going to eventually watch this and see your beautiful soul and spirit who you are and anything you want to share about yourself?
Well, I'm Selena Davis. I am a newly operating coach for special needs moms, advocacy for special needs families. I'm working with girls and women in general to be supportive, bring them into circle together. Uh, I'm working on a few different things to just bring connection back into our communities, to get everybody back on track as far as women. We need each other to thrive and to, we just need wise women, wise studies, wise action, to be together. So that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah, and we've been so blessed to be connected for several years now, and we've done all different amazing things together. And I've watched your evolution over the years, and I know that your family is super important to you, and that you have children as well as a new grandbaby.
Yeah.
But in terms of your work, wanting to be a support, create a support system, create support communities for moms, and in particular moms of special needs children. Can you speak a little bit about why is that near and dear to your heart and what experience you have with that?
It's near and dear to my heart because I have an 11-year-old who is severely autistic, intellectual disability, very low on the spectrum. And I'm always praying continuously for breakthroughs, and we're getting them here and there. Um, with his behavior, though, that's the challenge. Some of the other stuff you can kind of work with, but the behaviors right now are very escalated with him, so it makes it very challenging for me. And with my family, it was very important for me to get him to thrive and get him to be in a space where I could have a conversation with him. Um, I'm getting closer and closer, but with the behaviors, it's harder and harder to make the breakthroughs. He's getting older, bigger, he's tall as me now, and that's been within the last 7 to 8 months where he's sprouted up to my height. He's pretty big. Dad and I are kind of thick on the thick side. So he is getting up there in size and weight and strength. He's strong. So those are challenges that I work with and support for him. With me is very challenging for me every morning. So I know how other women feel. I know how other moms feel, even with the little ones to the big ones, to the adults, all sizes. I had a lot of challenge. I didn't have a support group for myself, not by choice. I just had to work through the systems of social services, and I was deep into social services. I came from an agency that works with special needs and disabled with disabled individuals. So, but I still had a challenge, and I know the ins and outs, and I know everything that I was supposed to do. Knowing what you're supposed to do, as opposed to the action of it, it was challenging. I know that it's a step-by-step process, and you can get depleted, and you can get sad, and you can get aggravated, and you just don't know where to go and who to talk to. Even if you know where to go and who to talk to, that doesn't mean it's going to work. So those are things that I've been faced with. We entered into the special needs. I knew he was going to be a special needs child um, probably when he was 3 or 4 months. I just could tell. But
Can you speak a little bit about that piece of it? I mean, I'm interested about your beginning of the journey, and maybe for moms or parents who are going to watch this and maybe they haven't had a diagnosis, but they're seeing signs. Can you speak a little bit about that?
okay, so I have 3 children. I have prior to my children, I did work with babies and children. I started off as a child development teacher. So I worked in preschools and I worked with little ones. And when I had Brianna, um, I went to school with her. She was actually able to go with me to school sometimes, and she was the subject. And she's a typical baby, very intelligent. Um, then I had Junior, which is my 12-year-old son. He was the typical boy, all developmental stages were fine. He did everything okay. And then 13 months later comes Dominic. And Dominic, the birthing experience was off. It wasn't the same experience I had with Junior and Brianna. With David Jr., I had him through another HMO. And then with Dominic, I had him at a county hospital. And the experiences were very different. And with that, trying to nurse, Dominic was a challenge. He wasn't making connection with me. And I just knew. My mom, at that time, she had just finished recovering from being really sick. She was on life support. She had just come back. And, I found out that I was pregnant probably about 4 or 5 months later. Like, I was pregnant for Dominic for a while before I realized that I was pregnant, because I was concentrating on helping my mom get off of life support and come home and all that. So I wasn't paying attention to my body, myself, nothing. And when I had Dominic, the birth was okay. I mean, it wasn't like the other ones. The other ones were smooth. With Dominic, the doctor wasn't in there. I gave birth to the baby by myself, basically. He's still trying to put on the scrubs, telling me, okay, yeah, and telling me to just hold the baby in. I said, how am I gonna hold the baby in? Like my third baby, the baby's not gonna be held in. So he came out, boop, there he is. I'm like, ooh, it's Dominic, and he's big, and he's just a beautiful baby. And so they whisk him away, and I don't see him for 4 or 5 hours. By that time, everybody's tired, so everybody leaves me at the hospital. And I had to get out of my room, my hospital bed, and go get him. I was like, where is he? I said, I'm nursing him. That when you nurse, you need to have him, skin to skin. I'm expert, right? So had to fight for him to get back to my room. I was sharing a room with another lady. And, with that, I said, well, he hasn't been fed. He hasn't been, oh, well, we gave him a bottle. I said, you weren't supposed to give him a bottle. So at that point, I knew I didn't have advocacy and somebody supporting me at the hospital. It was just me and Dominic. And when I got home, I struggled with nursing him, and everything was just surreal and different from the other two. And, I tried not to compare. And my mom was watching me. She was at the house one day. She said, you're looking at Dominic in a different way than you have with the other kids. And I said, well, yeah. And she said, you think there's something wrong with him, huh? I said, I was like, how did you know? So her intuition told her, that there was, that I had thoughts, and everybody says, well, at a few months, you can't tell. I was like, I can tell. I can tell. So with that, I started trying to take him to, I don't know, is it okay to say what hospital we were? No. So I took him to Kaiser, and they didn't give him a diagnosis of autism. They said it was just a speech delay. Um, and I fought for a few months. And then just everything is always speech delay, speech delay. And he did not get diagnosed with autism until after we entered the school district. So that was kindergarten. It was 3 years later. So for 3 years, I fought and kept taking him and getting him analyzed and, all that. And they, school district can't say he has autism. They have to say autism-like behavior. So with that, he has autism-like behavior. Take him back to Kaiser. Kaiser will say he has autism. So I finally got that, diagnosis. And when you have a diagnosis of autism and you know that a child is autistic, you should be getting early intervention, and I wasn't able to do that with them. I think that would have helped quite a bit. And so he was a challenge behavior-wise. And now that I'm looking at him as he's getting older, I think that there's some other things that are going on with him. So, it's a continuous challenge where I have to take him back and fight and just fight and fight and fight and fight. And so now I'm in the process where I'm taking him back so that he can get another mental health evaluation. I and this is real time. So the last 3 weeks, that's what I've been doing is fighting Kaiser to get more of a mental health evaluation. Is he psychotic? Is he, does he have, I don't even know, bipolar? Does he have, because he gets aggressive and he gets angry and he goes from being laughing to pissed off to back to just, kind of smooth and
he's 11 now, right?
He's 11.
And where is he with his speaking?
He was nonverbal. I have been able to have ABA therapy with him, and we've had speech and occupational therapy, but because of his behavior, he wasn't able to use their services. I'm having a difficult time getting in-home speech and OT for him because of the behavior, and just finding an agency. I live in Riverside County, and when you have HMO, you have to use certain providers. Well, we're to the point where the providers know that they can't help Dominic. Even though they were able to make some progress with him, but the progress has stopped. And interesting enough, the progress stopped when I stopped working and came home. So, and then you have, for me, this is where I doubt myself. Like, was I not supposed to come home? Is he not progressing because now I'm home? Am I allowing him to do things that I shouldn't allow him to do? So I question myself about a lot of things. I have blamed myself. I have wondered if there's anything that I did to cause him to have autism. And it's a fight. It's a strain on my relationships. Family-wise, I have a hard time being able to go out and socialize. So those are, it's hard.
I am so feeling your situation, and I think that so many other people who are listening will be grateful to hear the transparency of what your experience is like, because either they're relating to it or they weren't aware of what it's really like. And I think it's really enlightening to be able to hear it. And what I heard you say, just in terms of some tips and tools and maybe some tangible things people could take away from here, is, to really look for the signs and try and get early intervention, get the diagnosis early, look into speech and occupational therapy, and also in-home care, as quickly and early as possible, to try to reverse any of the issues, or at least manage the issues before they escalate into something more. So that's super helpful. One thing that I keep feeling as I'm hearing you talk is like, of course you love your son, and when this, when you have a child that has special needs, or an elder that needs your attention, or a spouse that is sick, or there's all these things that happen in life where primarily women have
Mm,
to step into this caregiver role.
right.
And so I know, in terms of the work that you do in creating this amazing community for women, who are caregivers, who are mothers of special needs children, who are just women who are burnt out that need self-care, for within those communities, though, what do you suggest that people do to actually, offset the negative impact of being a caregiver? I mean, can you speak a little bit about, like, so what happens when you do become a full-time caregiver, and then for most people also are trying to work, right? So what I'm hearing you say is that his situation was, so advanced and sort of extreme, that you felt like, I need to leave my job, I need to come home, I need to be fully available to my child. And you're sort of wondering, like, okay, now I'm here and it seems like his situation has actually gotten worse. Is that because I'm home, or what is it? And now you're at 11 years old, still working on getting him the correct diagnosis. And does he need mental health care? Does he need to be in a facility? And so that, in addition to working, as a full-time job. So for other people who are in the same situation as
Mhm.
you, can you speak a little bit about maybe some of the blind things that they might not be aware of that are happening to themselves as individual beings? And then any advice you have, and so what do they do about that? How do they actually prioritize themselves or take care of themselves?
So, for me, I have decided that what I needed to do was get grounded. I was all over the place. I actually still am, um, but I've started grounding practices. And grounding, if you're not familiar with grounding, is just to come down from all these spaces that you're in. So I feel all these different spaces, and I'm like, ooh, like a big, like it's an umbrella. I couldn't even tell you how many different thoughts I have in a moment. Like I have 10,000 thoughts right now. Um, so I learned to do grounding practices, earthing, and sometimes what they call it. But um, that's what one of the things that I'm offering to women in circle is to ground, to learn how to bring yourself down to your body and out of your thoughts for a moment, just to remember that you need to be grounded in order um, to project out what you need to say and do. So when you have these meetings for, they call them IEPs or individual education plans, or you have meetings with all these people. So it's you and say 10 to 12 administrators, right? So one of the practices that I've learned is to um, just dial into myself and recognize what I need at that moment. And what I usually need is not a need for me, it's a need for Dominic. So I need to understand what he's going through and feeling, and the perspective of other people. So grounding for me helps me to just understand myself and what my role is for Dominic. And so I have to practice my own grounding. And I wasn't able to do that before until I really stopped working. And I learned that what I'm feeling is not always what needs to happen. So I'm feeling, okay, well, I need him to just stay here. I need him to be here in the house with me. I need to make sure that he's taken care of. And I realized that I'm not grounded. I'm not, focused on what is actually needed. It's just everything points to the women making sure that the child is taken care of, and the mom just is very like, what does everybody else need? So what do I need? Well, I need to be able to understand what's going on. So in order to do that, I have to get out of the whole what everybody else is saying and doing, and just focus on my attention to what actually needs to be done for Dominic. And it's it's interesting to put everything together, because it's what I need, it's what he needs, it's what the family needs. And to do that, grounding practices are a big part of that. And also,
it sounds like, just before you transition to the next thing, it sounds like part of what you're saying is, when you are a caregiver, or when you are a parent of a special needs child, you whether you like it or not, you become an advocate, and you're not going to advocate for your child, no one else is. And if you don't get really clear and centered and calm and come from within and connect with your child and really get clear on what's best for them, what's best for you, what's best for the family, then you're just at the whim of the so-called team that's supposedly there to help you, but they're also part of an institution, and they have a program and a system, and this is the way we always do it, and it's sort of like a one-size-fits-all machine, and your kid just becomes another statistic, versus
right.
saying, he is an individual, I'm an individual, we have unique circumstances, and for you to be empowered and come from a place of being centered and calm and be able to speak and advocate for yourself and your family, you have to not just be swept up in the overwhelm of the day-to-day life, but you have to be able to get back into your body, use your intuition,
Yes.
your sensory process, use your ability to feel what you're feeling, to help be that true guide, instead of just letting other people sort of dictate what's happening for you. So in addition to that, you were going to say there's some other practices that you find are valuable.
Exactly. And you said it so well. I have to come back and re-listen to all that, because you said it so perfectly. And that's what happens to me, is I go on these tangents, and I'm like, wait, like, ground yourself, because you need to bring it all back together and understand, go get it all, but then you need to collect it. So self-care is another practice that has been really beneficial. And the way that I found the path to my self-care was through, of course, Superfly program. And then I found with Superfly program, because you have Elena there, she's been the other big part of me, being able to help myself. So I do a lot of self-care now. And I want to bring that to special needs moms, because I wasn't doing any self-care at all. Even, I've been a part of your community for a while. And truthfully, I didn't even really start a big self-care practice until about 6 months ago. And that's because I just didn't have time. In the morning, I would be, okay, get up, get up, get up. Everybody get up. Let me get you to the bus. Let me get you to school. Let me get you to work. Let me get myself to work. And self-care now, I listen to Elena and to you and even Lindsay, and I'm just like, okay, stop. What time is it? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, get up and take a bath. And it sounds weird, I know, but I do at this time get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I go take a bath when everybody's quiet and everybody's not aware that I'm awake. Because I feel like as soon as everybody knows, oh, she's awake, let's get her. That's kind of what happens. And I'm like, no, this is my hour. This is my time to just chill out and relax. And I even started doing journaling more often. I love that practice just to be able. I'm a cursive writer person, so I love to see myself do cursive writing, and I like to read my own writing. I'm not an artist, but that I guess is my creative piece. So finding something that makes you feel good and cursive writing, whether it's cursive writing or drawing or making a poster board, you just need to find one thing that will just draw you back to yourself for a little bit.
I think it's such great wisdom, and I think that this conversation is something that we can go on and on with because there's so much in it and so many different layers that we have just scratched the surface. But just to reiterate, what I hear you saying is, in addition to being an advocate for yourself and for your family and for your child, and doing that by centering yourself and really reconnecting with your own divine power and spirit from within, you're also saying these daily, weekly, ongoing spiritual, soulful self-care practices are integral for caregivers and parents and mamas to take care of themselves. And a lot of times we all feel, but especially women in your situation, feel like there's just too much going on and there's too many demands. And the reality is, though, is that a lot of women, especially caregivers, have caregiver burnout that then results in chronic illness. And what will happen to your family when you go down? Like, the family will not be able to survive. And so while we think that it's a luxury to be able to take a nap or to take a bath or to read a book or to write in our journal or to go for a walk or to dip our feet in the ocean, that feels like we're being selfish, or that feels like a luxury. Especially, I can imagine when you have a kid that all day every day is having needs and you feel like you need to be constantly available. I can imagine it feels like that's not a priority. That's like for somebody else. That's not my life. I can't do it. But the reality is, from what I hear you saying, is it is crucial because you have to replenish your own energy. You have to cleanse anything out of you that is toxic, or that is like negative energy or pain or frustration or resentment. Because I'm sure as much as you love your kid, you could probably also be angry at them or frustrated with them or resentful at them. Like, I had 2 kids and they were healthy and I had a regular life, and then I had you, and now my whole life has changed. And as much as you love your kid, that's still a reality. And so I'm sure there's feelings of guilt and shame and like the whole spectrum. And the more that we're aware that that's coming up for us and we realize that's okay, that is natural, but one of the ways that we can cleanse our body and sort of refresh and renew and start over again is to each day carve out, even if it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and say, this is my time. And what I'm hearing you say is, look at doing it before anybody in the house is up. Find either after everybody's in bed, stay up a little bit later, or in the morning, wake up a little bit earlier. Even though you'll lose out on a little bit of sleep, you'll gain so much exponentially by honoring yourself. And it's one of those things, it's like with exercise, where it has multiple benefits, where it's like it helps you emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of it. And I think self-care, obviously exercise is a form of self-care, and I think it would be great for caregivers to do exercise as one of the ways that they practice self-care. But I think that it's just crucial. And so I just wanted to say, like, I am so excited to get a chance to talk to you. And I think that those who will watch this will be super enriched by the conversation. Is there anything before we go into the speed round, which is going to be coming up, and we'll get a little bit silly and playful in that section? And there's so many other aspects of you that we haven't even gotten a chance to get into in terms of your amazing background and all of your wealth of experience. I mean, Selina is also a trained priestess and crystal practitioner and hands-on healer, and she does energy work,
flower essence therapy.
Flower essence therapy. She's a certified life coach. So this is a woman who has an amazing amount of resources. And part of what we've co-created is how do you take all of these gifts, all of these talents, and put them all together and serve a need and a population that is near and dear to your heart. So she's taking all of these gifts and tools and creating communities and circles for women who are like her, who maybe feel alone, feel like there's nobody to help them, and she can help them tap into that connection, help them tap into the self-care, help them tap into their community, and also help give them the tools to be an advocate for themselves to go further. And the one thing I just wanted to reference, because you brought up the Superfly program. So for anybody who's listening and is like, what's she talking about the Superfly program and Elena and Lindsay and what is this whole thing? I just wanted to say the Superfly program is one of my flagship coaching programs that many women from around the world join in. And it's for soulful and spiritual women who are aspiring and emerging entrepreneurs. And whether you're working a 9-to-5 and you're looking to start a business, or whether you're already established and you're looking to create more alignment and more sort of spiritual informed purpose-driven work in the world, that's what the program is. And then Elena and Lindsay are two of our experts in the program that the ladies get an opportunity to get mentorship from and instruction. And then that goes on into being an ongoing sort of lifelong community. And so Selina, I've been so blessed, has been one of my sort of original community members, like she said, from 2012, when I started doing Women's Night Out, which is like my signature workshop. She started coming to Women's Night Out. We immediately were deeply connected, and we've continued to support each other and help each other grow into each version of who we are. And so it was really important to me that I bring you on this interview and that people get to hear and learn from you, because you're so wise. And like I said, you're also extremely playful. And we've done a lot of fun stuff together. We've been on trips and we've traveled the world, and we've done dance parties, and we've let our hair down, and
everything.
We like cocktails, and we like to look at good looking people, and and so while the topic may feel a little bit heavy, because it is it is serious, it's important, I also just want to say that Selena is full of light and loves to laugh, and is constantly sending me these great hilarious videos and all this stuff, because we all love to dance, and so she sends me these hilarious videos of white girls dancing. That's a whole sidebar conversation, right? It's the inside joke. Okay, so before we go to the speed round, I'm going to ask you one last question, which is there anything else that you would want to say for those who are watching that is on your heart, or that you want to get out there that you want to say right now?
I am talking right now with some of my ladies about the collective women. It's just not special needs moms that are feeling depleted. It's all of us women. All of us are dealing with the Me Too stories, the trying to work and manage a family, trying to be in partnership with someone who may not be as supportive as you would hope they would be. We're trying to find connections to people, and sorry, my nose is itching. trying to find connections, and just overall we all are feeling the heaviness of society and the world and just everything that's going on in different parts of society. Activism is really strong for us in our community. And whether it's racial activism, sexual orientation activism, there's just so many types and ways. And I think what my message is that we all are fighting for something. And that is the most important thing for us to understand is we need to keep fighting, no matter what people are thinking about us. It's edgy. It's it makes you expand into things that you never thought. You might lose a couple of people that you thought cared about you and how you feel, and it's edgy. It's an edge that I never thought I would approach in this type of way. I have thoughts about different things, but for me to become more vocal about it, that's the edge, because I used to be a very reserved person. As a little girl, I was always told to be seen. I won't say they say not heard, but just you have to be delicate and you have to be dainty. And my grandmother was, you have to be a dainty girl, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of thick. I don't think I'll ever be dainty. That's not what I can do. I can't be dainty and petite. And I used to have books put on my head so I could walk straight, but I'm knock-kneed. So how am I going to walk straight if I'm knock-kneed? That kind of stuff. And we're all placed into this category of what women and women and females and what we're supposed to be like. And there's too many different people in this world to ever fit anybody's specific standard or mold. And so we just have to fight for everything. And I'm okay with the fight. As long as I have sisters sisters and even brothers, everybody needs to fight. And then it's okay.
Because we will fight and we will win.
Right. I'm going to win something. I might not win the lottery, but I'm going to win something.
That's right. I love that message. That's my jam. So I couldn't even think I was going to have time to get into that. So I'm so glad that you Yes, sisters and brothers, this is the time. The time is now. We cannot stay quiet. We cannot stay silent. We need to be advocates for ourselves and for our community and for those less fortunate, those less privileged, those without a voice, those who are way more vulnerable than us. In whatever way that you are protected class, find a way for you to stand up and advocate for those who are vulnerable, because we are in a very specific time in history where things are happening very quickly and our rights are being taken away from us left and right. And you might think that it doesn't affect you, but you better believe they're going to come for you too.
They're coming for you.
They're coming for you.
They're coming for you.
If you don't fight for, I was hearing someone say, well, if you don't fight for immigration, like for Black folks, they're like, Black folks, you better fight against that wall. You better fight against ICE. You better fight against these, bans, because you think they're not going to come for Black people. You think they're not coming for you.
They're coming for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I felt it when we went to Mexico. There was a difference in the first year than the second year when we went over. It was harder for me to cross into Mexico. And, why not? Why wouldn't it be? Because we're not seen as very good people in America.
Perception of Americans, in the world is harsh. I agree with you. I mean, luckily, people eventually got to know us and see that we're sort of special. But the world right now is looking at us and I mean, if we're confused, imagine how the rest of the world is looking at us. But for the sake of time, let's wrap up that combo, because we can go down a rabbit hole talking about government and politics. That's my jam. I could just be going on and on about it. Okay, so we're going to do the speed round. This is meant to be quick. Okay, so
let me get ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, religion or spirituality?
Spirituality.
In person or online?
Ooh, I like both. I'll pick in person.
Okay. Speaking or writing?
Writing.
Coffee, chocolate, or wine?
Oh, not coffee. I can do chocolate and wine together.
Oh, that's my favorite. And
That's the combination that's the best combination.
start the day. It's a morning ritual, and it just feels
And
divine.
you know mine is special dark.
Yes, I know you
I
like.
have a reason.
You know I like dark chocolate.
Yes. I don't want no milk in my chocolate. I want like 99% hot, special dark chocolate.
Hot dark chocolate. Okay.
It's kind of bitter, but it's all right.
Oh my God, you're cracking me up. Okay, on that point, sleep or sex?
Oh my gosh.
Dark chocolate.
I want sex to put me to sleep.
Exactly. Okay, and your guiding word of the year?
Expansion.
And what do you think the key to healing is right now?
Start where you're at and keep digging until you get to your higher self.
Yeah, do the work, right?
Do the work.
What do you think the world needs right
now? Oh my gosh. To just recognize that we're hurting.
Compassion and healing. I hear you.
Compassion and healing. Yeah.
Okay, and last but not least, it's your last day. You're transitioning over. Your family's gathering around you. What do you want that tombstone or that sort of epilogue or whatever to say about your life? What do you want them to have said?
Wise woman.
You are, honey. You are a wise woman who loved and is loved.
Yes, I love everybody.
You do
I love to give hugs too.
You give good hugs. You got that.
You know why?
Bosom. You got that bosom.
Yes.
Where's your viral video?
I don't know. I have to find it again, but I can stuff about 50 things in there.
Is that a public viral video? Can I share that?
Yes, but I don't know where it's at. I haven't seen it. It hasn't come up in my memories. I have to see if I can.
Well, search for Selina Davis. She got this epic video where she's showing all the things that she could put into her bosom and still look normal. And she's like, when I go out on the town, I put the keys in, I put the brush in, I put the lip.
Right.
Everything's there. All right, my sister friend, this is it.
Thank you.
An amazing time. I love you dearly.
I love you too.
We just get to keep journeying on together, and we're rising up together. And this work that you're doing is so meaningful and important. So, sisters and brothers, if you're watching this and you can relate to Selina, whether you're a caregiver, whether you're a special needs parent, whether you're just a burnt out mama, please contact her. One of her signature groups and circles is called the Solum Circle. She has amazing online and in-person groups and a community that is available to support you right now. She also does one-on-one advocacy work and coaching with you. So if you want to work personally with her, you can. So seek her out, contact her. If for any reason you can't find her, I know you're going to be able to find me. So contact me, let me know. I need to get in touch with Selina. And definitely give us comments, share the video, let us know what resonated with you. We hope that this has been valuable and of service to you. And we're wishing you all the best. Lots of love, lots of blessings, and lots of love and blessings to you, my friend. I will see you soon.
Love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye.